I went out. I want freedom.
We were treated like criminals, dangerous criminals.
Silke Orphal's and Ilona Seeber's state security file is hundreds of pages thick.
Yeah, it was here.
When this was East Germany, the state security watched and harassed the two women because they wanted to leave for West Germany. 30 years have passed since the Berlin Wall fell.
Does Geisler mean anything to you?
No, just Seiler.
Do you want to ring the bell?
Mr. Seiler's door, oh my God. And then? What do you say?
You'll have to talk. I can't even remember him.
Silke Orphal and Ilona Seeber have returned to the house in Berlin where they once lived. Their ex-neighbor still lives there, but he's not home. But the two women find their way in.
Just look at this place.
It looks a lot worse to Silke than it does to me. I don't think it's all that bad.
I think it's pretty grubby. It's not charming. We had our window at the very top, almost over the corner. Looks like someone lives there now.
When she lived here as a young woman, her life was anything but private. From the stairwell across the courtyard, the East German state security watched her through a kitchen window. The tree was much smaller then. Did you see the Stasi people standing there?
I didn't know until I read it.
We never would have guessed.
That they were standing here? No.
They read about it in their Stasi file. Among the hundreds of papers are intercepted letters, private mail, official correspondence, and lots of informers' reports. Even the ground plan of Ilona and Silke's apartment.
On April 30th, 1980, 7 a.m. commenced observation at residence. Light was on in the kitchen and the window was half open. After 50 minutes, the light went out. Seeber left the apartment alone and proceeded on foot toward the Samariterstraße subway station. At 7 p.m., the subject was not in the apartment. A matchstick wedged into the door was still in the place mentioned. Surveillance was then ended. Someone was spying on my life, and I had no idea. And they described me as a person from their point of view that wasn't an especially friendly one. That left me with an unpleasant feeling. For years, I wanted nothing to do with that. I didn't even want to read it.
It's there, but I live with it. It's been my experience that you always get through better if you live with a circumstance. Integrate it into your life. Take it along and don't let it get to you. That's the only way.
Why were the two young women being watched? They had moved to East Berlin from the countryside and found well-paid jobs as typists with Neues Deutschland, the official newspaper of the ruling Socialist Unity Party. Ironic, since they hardly towed the party line.
I'm glad I don't have to work here anymore.
It's as if you're looking at another life, as if it almost had nothing to do with your own life now.
It's distant.
That was the first Paternoster lift I'd seen in my life, and the first time I jumped on, I panicked about jumping off again, because I thought it turned upside down at the top.
The marketing head of the paper, which still calls itself Socialist, takes us around the building and down memory lane.
And there was also Ms. Zuko, but she killed herself. and Sparschuh personnel.
Yeah, she hired me.
And fired us.
Silke Orphal, using her maiden name Spar, and Ilona Seeber decided to leave East Germany. They kept applying for exit visas.
I doubt the credibility of this state now that I've had personal experience of how little human rights are respected in East Germany.
Dear Mr. Honecker, all these absurdities involved in processing an application for an exit visa are giving me more and more doubts about this system.
Word quickly got around at the newspaper. As expected, co-workers so closely tied to the party line had little patience for what they saw as callous disloyalty.
We had become invisible. Nobody spoke to us anymore. Nobody greeted us. We kept on working a little, but we were treated like criminals, dangerous criminals. And that was pretty sad, because we had all got along very well before. We had not only worked together, but partied together too.
Eventually, they were both fired from Neues Deutschland. Their future prospects were looking bad, and not just professionally.
Currently, Spar and Seeber are still living in the Neues Deutschland apartment. The personnel department has told them to vacate the apartment as quickly as possible and look for work, as their living space is urgently needed by the Neues Deutschland.
In fact, they threatened to forcibly evict us. And we threatened to bring in a West German camera team for them. So nothing happened. This is it. Oh, no end of horrors.
That was here?
Yeah, that was here.
But the system hit back in this official building.
Yes, it was really terrible here.
The two women were summoned here again and again for interrogations, lasting hours.
I've got a bad physical feeling, but no memory. Just a bad physical feeling.
I'm getting butterflies in my stomach.
Yes, not good at all.
Eventually, the interrogation stopped. Today, this is a harmless administration building.
It was down there by the next seating area. At least that's the feeling I have.
What kind of feeling is that?
Not good.
No, not a good one. Not fun at all. Not a good feeling.
Do you want to go there?
I don't know. I feel queasy somehow.
Yes, let's go there. You have to return to the scene of the horror.
But I feel really awful physically. Really awful. I could just start crying.
Then go ahead. I think it was down there, not up the stairs. I'm pretty sure.
Here. I'm sure too.
Today, they see the interrogations as extremely degrading.
The way they greeted you was like, yeah, I can see right off that they're tramps. And in such a nasty tone of voice.
The manner of the two applicants was insolent, demanding, and very arrogant.
You always had this fear that you couldn't go home because you'd be taken to prison. That's how menacing it felt to us.
So it was like, watch out, it's enough just to cross the street wrongly, we're everywhere. Such a massive threat.
They remember very well the names of the Stasi officers. Would you like to meet them again?
No.
No. Absolutely not.
And of course, I wouldn't be able to hide how much I despise them. And when I despise someone, I don't want to have anything to do with them.
These events took place over 30 years ago. Now the Stasi Records Agency has provided access to their files. For the first time, the two women have talked to the younger generation about why they risked everything to get out of East Germany.
I wanted out. I didn't want anyone dictating that I live here, even if it was socially equitable. But we didn't want that. And at that age, you're brave enough to go ahead and act on it.
The fact that I couldn't get out, that I could only go to a few countries that I was allowed to visit, I just couldn't accept that. I couldn't accept the way things were. And so I thought, no, I want out. I want freedom.
Silke Orphal's desire for freedom almost landed her in prison, but she found work and protection in a church community.
About 9 months later, I withdrew the application because I married the pastor.
But the pastor could only marry one of you, right?
Yeah.
And then I wondered if there weren't other ways. I thought about marrying a Bulgarian citizen and emigrating through Bulgaria. But then I realized that my nerves and my strength were totally shot. And we weren't living together anymore, so we couldn't support one another. I'm not sure if that was the reason, but I just didn't have the strength.
Both of them withdrew their final applications at the start of the 80s. Ilona Seeber had a baby and unexpectedly got permission to leave for the West. As the pastor's wife, Silke Orwohlt was also allowed to go.
What we'd been through and experienced, somehow it all paid off this evening.
My dream as a teenager was to see the world. Now I've fulfilled it.